think what they can do with 30-minute cartoons.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg.
If you allow them to have these toys or you buy them for them, you're going to be held responsible before God.
It's time to exercise those demons again and get these plastic Satan worshiper toys out of your house. Now, if you didn't see, yesterday we did part 1 of this video from about 1983, 1984, where they tell us how action figures, cartoons, comic books, I think they cross anything a kid would like, that they're made by Satan, that they're bringing witchcraft into your house and more. If you hadn't seen part 1, check it out. At the end of this video, I'll link to part 1. This is part 2. And I think we're going to do maybe 3 to 4 parts of this, not sure yet. On yesterday's video, they took a look at the evils of He-Man, Skeletor, and even Thundercats. But today, they're going to go after more Dungeons and Dragons, E.T., and others. Now let's get right into the video where we watch these two go after Dungeons and Dragons. And not just the game, but the 80s cartoon that we all love.
Well, Phil, we've been watching a character here called Venger and another black creature.
Dude, racist much?
Well, I believe that it's a direct depiction of Satan and his demon powers and demon friends that go forth for him. I believe that Dungeons and Dragons is a direct quote from the pit of hell, if you want to call it that.
A direct quote from the pits of hell. Man, who are these people playing this Dungeons and Dragons? It's got to be some of those people that listen to Judas Priest and Ozzy Osbourne. What kind of people you think play Dungeons and Dragons? I bet they're all like into drugs and heavy metal music, and I bet they look like this.
Now let's look at another one of these. This is where we go into the Dungeon Master's Guide. Who is the Dungeon Master?
Well, the Dungeon Master is a person who plays God in the game. And he controls all the situations. In fact, the books tell him that he is the god of the game.
Yes, he's the god of the game. But almost all games have a god of the game, not just role-playing games. I used to play Monopoly when I was a kid, and guess what? They had a god of the game in Monopoly. We called him the banker. They got to control who gets the loans, who's got the money, who's going to get slipped an extra $100, $200 here and there for pass and go. Yes, all games have a master.
And the pieces include white witches, wizards, necromancers.
What'd he say?
Necromancers.
I don't know Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what that is, but apparently this guy knows a lot about Dungeons and Dragons.
She says, for a period of about 6 months, we lost Tonio, our son. He became rebellious, disrespectful, lethargic. He made sneering faces at us and carried with him a very hostile spirit that could be felt wherever he went in the house.
It wasn't Dungeons and Dragons or the devil that made Antonio act like that. It was puberty. He became a teenager.
Well, we're seeing here, Phil, all kinds of demonic creatures. Anything else you want to say about Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, the fact is that this toy and cartoon series is bringing the occult to younger and younger children in a very real way.
Now, I grew up in the 80s watching Dungeons and Dragons, and mostly it wasn't young kids that watched this. They were over there watching the Muppet Babies or some crap. It was mostly those early teens, the people that age that played Dungeons and Dragons. It wasn't like 3-year-olds who were watching the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon unless they had a brother or something. And I think here he says that they had toys to Dungeons and Dragons, but there were no toys, action figures anyway, based on the cartoon. What an idiot.
Well, let's look at a couple of occultic games.
Okay,
I have a few here that we picked up at the toy store. We went out and we picked up a few. Now this is the Infactables, Mystic Warriors of Change. And
did you hear what he said they're going to look at?
Well, let's look at a couple of occultic games.
They're going to look at some games that they bought at the toy store. Games. And then he picks up an action figure. If you don't know the difference between an action figure and a game, then how can I trust you that the devil's trying to take over our children?
The faces change in these, don't they?
Right. It's a man-to-beast combination again. I don't know much about this toy series. Of course, they come out so fast it's pitiful.
He just said they don't know anything about this toy line, yet he's going to sit there and tell you about how evil they all are.
Here's another one, another man-to-beast transformation where you can turn around the head inside, and these seem to be very occultic in their overtones.
Oh yeah, these are very, very evil. I mean, look at them. They look like cheap knockoff He-Man toys. Never even heard of this toy line. Never even heard of this toy line. What is it? It's plastic and it's green and it wasn't made by the devil.
Let's look at another one here, which we found in the store called a Sectors, Warriors of Symbion. And it says, now the battle is in your hands. Very interesting.
Jay, did these guys raid the local Toys R Us? They got like every toy ever made. What did they do? Buy out Toys R Us? Not only they got the toys, they got all the Dungeons and Dragons books. You see them pick them up about that thick. What did they do? Just buy out Toys R Us?
So let me see if I can put my hand in here. Oh, no. Unbelievable.
Dude, it's a sock puppet. It's not unbelievable.
Get my fingers in the different glove parts here, and then this creature actually begins to open its mouth and move its legs. Isn't that incredible?
And so they can make it take on life.
No, it's not incredible. It's a glove with a toy on top of it. You're at like it came alive. Like you put your hand in it, and then the power of the devil made it come alive and start flying around the room. It's your hand. You're controlling it.
Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
And do you remember those verses in the book of Revelation about the flying beast with the riders on them?
The flying beast with the riders on them. So this is
the winged horses.
That Doug Henning guy with the mustache doesn't know what the other guy's talking about at all. Watch it again.
About the flying beast with the riders on them.
The flying beast with the riders on them. So this is
the winged horses.
He's like, I don't know. I'll just play along to wherever this fool's saying.
Well, it's going to bring the occult into every home, and you know that the Lord said some very powerful things in Deuteronomy chapter 18.
Well, hold on. Before you tell me about Deuteronomy, did you notice that? Look again.
Home, and you know that.
First, I'm not talking about how the guy sounded like he might be drunk. Look out the window. There's someone walking by the window. Now, I thought this was some kind of fake studio made up to look like a living room and probably a fake picture in the back to make it look like outside. But no, there's a lady walking down the road passing a car. This is a real house. Right.
Yeah, what does God say?
Yes, it says right here in Deuteronomy 7:42, plainest text. Let me read it to you. It says, "Thou shalt not bring plastic gods into thy house. This includes, but not limited to, a plastic squid head, a plastic Boba Fett, a plastic He-Man, a plastic Skeletor, a plastic She-Ra, or a handsome man named Tony that both of your parents say they like, but they do not believe that you are just friends."
So,
I think people like this can take anything they find in the Bible, twist it around to apply it to anything they want to.
would you say these toys are cursed to God?
Oh, I would guarantee it. The toys and the cartoons. So the minute you turn your TV on, you've broken this scripture here.
So time you turn the TV on, you're doomed? What if I wanted to turn it on to watch their stupid cable access show?
So a parent who allows his child to watch this on television and also brings these toys into the home or buys them for the child is actually breaking a commandment of God and inviting curses upon the family. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Bible talks about not taking counsel from ungodly counsel. Well, bringing a TV into your home is like taking counsel.
So what's the deadly sins here? Bringing a TV into your house, bringing these toys into your house, bringing these cartoons into your house, bringing the Dungeons and Dragons books into the house. They did all this. They got more toys than most kids did. And every time I look at the clip of this video, they're showing this sinful stuff on the television.
From E.T., the extraterrestrial. What can we say about him?
Well, E.T. smashed box office records in 1982 by doing $318 million.
Oh my God, they're not going after E.T., are they? What are these kids supposed to like?
So it was a camouflage occult movie including levitation, psychic healing, mind control, mental telepathy, that type of thing. E.T. also included some inferences to homosexuality.
Oh, what an idiot. Now this guy's telling me E.T. was gay.
E.T., I mean, we saw the little guy with healing power in his finger.
Yes.
And levitation ability, and he just brought all of this into the minds and thinking of the children.
Oh, I don't know if I can watch all of this. The only person that read all this into the movie, it wasn't the kids. It was these two fools, and people like them.
And so I think that's what happened in this movie. It was a falsification of Christ coming to earth and trying to get us to believe that, hey, you know, if E.T.'s an alien and he came down and he did all the things that he did and he died and was resurrected again, then what about Jesus? Maybe he was an alien.
I watched a movie about a little boy that befriended a little alien and helped him get home. These guys watched The Last Temptation of E.T.
Now, I think a lot of this can even go back, if we might divert, back to some of the movies that have been coming out, like Star Wars and The Jedi, Return of the Jedi, and so forth.
Episode 6, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and so forth. That must have been the working title of it. That's right, these guys are fitting to go after Star Wars and the Kenner toys. I'm going to need my Jack Daniels before I watch this one. And I'm saving that for part 3. So come back tomorrow for part 3 as we watch these two guys tell us about the sinful ways of Star Wars and the Kenner Star Wars toys and more. Thank you for watching. As always, please thumb up this video and subscribe to the channel. In the comments below, let me know what you think about these guys. Are they right? Were the plastic toys that you played with during a kid the work of Satan? Let me know in the comments below. And come back tomorrow for part 3.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.